So, Goose Tooth, how many teeth does a goose have?
If you Google it, you'll have nightmares.
Oh, really?
It's actually really weird.
So geese actually have teeth?
They actually have a teeth type barb thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like it's a barb? Like a hooked barb?
It kind of. They look kind of like razor teeth, but it's a real thing.
That does sound horrifying.
It is kind of horrifying.
Because you think that they just have like beaks or something.
Right.
Like that, like flat little beaks because they eat plankton or...
No,
not plankton.
They're not SpongeBob.
They just eat plankton. Yes, of course. They eat plankton. Funny story about a goose, as long as we're meandering. My twin brother bought a goose from a farm and fleet in college because he thought it would be a cool pet.
Oh, no.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, no. He found out really quickly because it attached to him and it would literally follow his feet everywhere. It was like this Chinese goose or Japanese goose. And it just honk, 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 honk all the time. It was pooping everywhere. But
yeah, they're nonstop poopers.
Yeah. I mean, that's my story about a goose. But why the name Goose Tooth? Where does that come from?
So, can I tell you that at the end of the story?
Oh,
Because
yes.
it'll actually make more sense.
I like that a lot. Look
But
at you,
it's
you
actually kind
storyteller.
of a play on words. It's a fun.
Okay.
It's a fun story.
See how she did that, people at home? You're going to have to listen to this whole interview if you want to know. Don't hit that fast forward button. Amberlyn, I'm excited to talk to you today. We were neighbors in Bay City for a little bit. You were running my table. We had this little dream where I would just punch a hole in the wall where your staff could just hand me lunch every day.
Food through a conveyor belt.
Yeah, it would save me a trip around the corner of the building. But we were talking before hitting record that we've never actually sat down to chat. So I'm excited to talk to you.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, this is cool. It's also cool to see the news coming out that Goose Tooth come into the SVRC Marketplace, the former boardroom.
Yes.
But before we talk about that, let's talk about your path into food and my table, and then we'll meander into Goose Tooth. How's that sound?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. So tell me about how my table in Bay City came to be.
So it actually all started at the SVRC Marketplace.
Oh, really?
So I'm actually coming home, which is very surreal in a couple ways.
Welcome home.
So I was at a meeting at CMURC, and they were talking about the SVRC Marketplace. And me and Elena both decided to open restaurants in the marketplace. So I opened up Blending Bowl, she opened up Sushi Remix, and that's where we got started.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow. That was your introduction into the food biz.
That was my introduction into the food biz.
Very cool. What was Blending Bowl? What did you
was a vegan eatery. So we did juicing and smoothie bowls, like those acai berry bowls, salads, things of that nature.
I hear word on the street we've got an acai place coming in the Saginaw. More on that coming. Cool.
Nice.
So Blending Bowl at SVRC. Tell me about that and where'd you go from there?
So CMURC put on a pitch competition called Pitch a Dream, and I was a judge for that. And when I was judging, Rod Hildebrandt was sitting next to me. And, judges chat. He heard I had Blending Bowl, and he's like, "You really need to meet my daughter, Jennifer Acosta." And I'm like, "Okay, sure, why not?" I had no idea where this was going.
Sure, I'll meet your daughter.
And so I meet Jen at the Legacy building before it was built, and she talked about her dream of a restaurant going into that place.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell in love with the windows,
believe
it or not. I'm like, this is a beautiful facility. And I had always wanted to open a farm-to-table restaurant, but I thought I would do it like around retirement age.
Yeah. It's going to be my retirement gig.
Yeah, like I was like, this isn't something I, anticipated in the immediate future.
Yeah. Spoken like a true entrepreneur. You know what I'm going to do for my retirement? I'm going to start a business.
Exactly. And so I kind of fell in love with her vision of the project, and it just felt like the right fit. And so I went for it, and my table began.
Wow. Tell me about this idea of farm to table and the Michigan food concept. Tell me about that.
So I have a big passion for Michigan agriculture and food. So we grow and produce so many wonderful things that people who live here very rarely get access to, which seems really backwards.
Yeah, right.
Like, I wanted to be able to take some of those things and make it accessible to the people who lived in the state that it was grown in. It's better quality food. It's better for people. And I feel like a way we can showcase our state, especially to other people. You know, I really looked, I'm like, you bring in someone from another state and you want them to see Michigan food. Where do you take them? Coney Island or Frankenmuth chicken? And I'm like, is that really Michigan though? Is that really what we're about? And so that's kind of what I built that thought off of.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I mean, from the perspective of farm to table, the food is fresh. You're not carting things from California across the country and everything that goes into making sure that food survives that kind of trip. But then also just from a marketing business perspective, I love that idea of opening a restaurant that has some kind of personality, that has an identity that aligns with, because if people love Michigan.
Yes.
They're like, I love Michigan, and that idea of celebrating Michigan and Michigan food at the same place is very, very cool.
And then we get to support small family farmers, which is just as important as the small family restaurants.
Yeah, yeah. So for folks that maybe have never been to My Table, give me some examples of what kinds of things you serve there.
So we serve a lot of like family style or home cooking type foods. So chicken pot pie, we sell gallons of that. I mean, I probably could get a tugboat full of chicken pot pie.
Yeah, and I would eat it all.
And it's not traditional chicken pot pie, right? It's chicken pot pie, and we have Michigan-shaped buttermilk biscuits that go on top. It's not the traditional crust. And then we sell, things that are more unique, like venison tenderloin. A lot of people have shot a deer in their backyard, but venison in a restaurant is very different.
Yeah, wow.
And then, we do a lot of work with like White's Fishery. So right now we're doing walleye fish fries, and we have whitefish on our menu, and that comes straight from the lakes here in Michigan. So,
wow, cool. So when did you open My Table?
September 2019, 6 months before COVID.
Yeah, that's some great timing.
It was great.
Yeah. How did you weather COVID? How was it for you as a restaurant?
That was extremely trying.
Yeah.
I went from probably some of my highest highs to lowest lows and back again on repeat.
Yeah.
We made it through, but barely. And Blending Bowl did not. And so that's actually why Blending Bowl no longer exists.
Oh, because of COVID?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I love what you said about the highest highs and the lowest lows, because for a lot of businesses, that's true. I mean, you see the community come out en masse, like, we have to save our local businesses, and lines going out, and everybody's ordering takeout and really rallying, and that's got to make you feel really great. But at the same time, it's a really, really tough situation, because you have this thing called math. And specifically money-related math. And even though the support is there, the math can be really, really difficult.
Yes, it was very difficult. The hardest thing for me was to close and lock my doors and tell all of my employees, you no longer have a job. So go open the freezer, take what you need, because this is all I can do for you right now. And I don't know the next time that I'd be able to do anything else for you.
Yeah.
That was devastating to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's more than just the business. It's the people that also rely on the business.
Yeah, I couldn't do it without them.
Yeah.
They're the core of everything I do.
Yeah. So obviously, though, My Table's still around, still serving some kicking food in Bay City. Tell me about how Goose Tooth and SVRC former boardroom came to be.
So it's actually kind of a unique story. It started with a premonition.
Oh, really? Okay, I'm getting out my tarot cards.
I came to work one day, and my bar manager, Travis, came up to me and said, Amber, I had the most terrible dream. And I'm like, okay. He's like, you told me to quit My Table to work at a pizzeria. And I'm like, what?
Why would I ever do that, Travis?
I was devastated.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's never going to happen. I'm like, don't worry about that. And I laughed it off. So it's all his fault.
Oh,
you ever
really?
see Travis, Goose Tooth, just blame it on him.
Thanks, Travis. The city of Saginaw thanks you.
Well, a few months later, I had to take a seminar in Anchorage, Alaska. I promise it's related.
Wow.
For my doctorate program through CMU. Go Chips.
Yeah. So pause right there. What is the doctorate program?
Healthcare Administration, DHA.
Oh, wild. So a little bit of food, a little bit of restaurants, a little bit of healthcare administration. There's also like a chemical side of this?
Well, those two are related.
Okay.
My employer recommended I complete my doctorate, nudged.
Okay.
So I decided to do that. But yes, I'm the chief scientific and growth officer for a chemical company. That is my real day job.
Wild. Okay. So you're in Anchorage, Alaska.
So I had to go to Anchorage, Alaska for this seminar, which was awesome. And Travis, before I went, said, I'd never been to Alaska. Could I go? I said, well, if you buy a ticket, I don't care. I'll be there. He buys a ticket. I'm like, okay. So I'm in my seminar. He's exploring during the day. So we meet up for dinner, and everyone tells us we need to go eat dinner at a place called Goose Tooth. And I'm like, okay, let's go check out this Goose Tooth because that's all anyone's talking about. It's not in Anchorage. It's like on the outskirts. And we're like, okay, I don't know, we'll see what this is. We show up. It is an hour and a half wait on a Tuesday to dine in 45 minutes for takeout.
Oh, goodness.
I'd never seen a pizzeria like that in my entire life. I mean, granted, Tuesday is the slowest day of the week for a restaurant. Like
Right.
it's crickets.
Right.
The people were swarming out of the building. And I'd never experienced an operation quite like that. They even have their own hockey team.
Oh, wild.
Like they're
Wow.
their own special operation.
Yeah,
they make
why-
their own beer.
What is it about Goose Tooth that makes them that popular?
I think it was a mixture of things. Part of it was the environment and the food because everyone was raving that it was great. But they kind of created their own unique fun. Like having the hockey team, owning their own brewery and making beer and being a playful organization. And I just really enjoyed it. Like it was fun. It wasn't like, you walk in and you have to make sure your shirt's buttoned up right. It was come have a good time, relax, sit around a bonfire, eat some good pizza and drink a beer.
Yeah. It sounds like they checked all the necessary boxes of a restaurant. Do you have good food? Is the
Yes.
service good? All of those things. But also building a community around it where
Correct.
you have a hockey team, where you
Yes.
have fun, where you can swing by and drink a beer after work with your friends because that's the place to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, so you're feeling inspired by Goose Tooth. You're loving it.
I'm like, this is cool. So we get back to reality in Michigan, vacation's over. And Travis is like, if you did ever tell me to work at a pizzeria, I would work at that one. And I'm like, you're joking. So as crazy entrepreneurs are, when we get bored, we do things. So I started dabbling and drawing this Goose Tooth idea. Honestly, just for my own personal amusement. I'm like, let's play with this. I really didn't expect it to truly go anywhere, at least not immediately.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's play. So as you start going down that rabbit hole in true business fashion, you start building it more. So it has its own mascot. It has, a website. And I'm like, there's no home for this place, but I've just built a whole business in my head.
Yeah.
So I had heard that the boardroom had closed, and in passing, me and Rachel connected, and I told her my idea. And I said, I have an idea for a pizzeria and taproom that's kind of unique, that it was inspired by my trip to Alaska. And she's like, you need to meet our current CEO and president, Denise. I said, okay. So we meet at the boardroom. I'm talking to her about my idea. How many people do you know that's been to Anchorage? Like in an arm's reach?
Yeah, one or two, my parents, but that's it.
So not only did Denise know about Goose Tooth, she played on their hockey team.
Oh, really?
Yes.
She played on the Goose Tooth hockey team?
She did.
Oh, what?
So she knew exactly what I was talking about. So I didn't sound like a crazy person.
So she lived in Alaska?
She lived in Anchorage.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, this is meant to be.
Yeah. What are the chances of that? How wild?
0.
Yeah, 0%.
So Goose's Tooth then became a reality after that conversation.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, wouldn't have thought in a million years. And it's been a blast the whole time. And it really is that same. I wanted to take the Goose Tooth concept and Michigander it.
Yeah.
Which is really what I did. So now we have Goose Tooth Co.
Yeah.
And threw that Michigan flair at it and hoping to create that same fun, relaxing, just goofy environment for people.
Oh, awesome. So along with the fun environment, you mentioned pizza, taproom.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about the pizza, a little bit about the beer.
So we're going to do Neapolitan style, like fire roasted artisan pizzas.
Ooh, nice.
So we have from pepperoni pizzas to those more creative eater pizzas.
Yeah.
And then it has 24 taps on site. So lots of beer options. We're going to try to also get root beer on tap. Just some other fun twists and turns.
I love the Neapolitan pizza, especially if you're heading somewhere during the day. It's pizza, but it's not like you're eating 17 pieces of giant pieces of pizza and then you have to go back to work and you really sleep in your cubicle for the next 4.5 hours because you just ate too much pizza. But like the Neapolitan style, it's manageable.
Yep. And we'll have some salads and grinders, and we're hoping to do some wacky waffles on Sunday. We'll see how that goes.
Oh, how exciting. I'm really excited for you guys to bring this to Saginaw. It's something that we talk about here in the city a lot is pizza. Like people want pizza and they want pizza options and that kind of pizzeria taproom combo I think will be super, super successful.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And one of my favorite features of the boardroom is they have this beautiful outdoor patio. And so I'm hoping I can really leverage that to really just make a nice place people can stop by after work or wherever and just have a, like you said, your hill, a moment to breathe.
Yes. Yeah. A moment of peace. I love it. Well, we're so excited to have you opening next week. It's going to be amazing. If people want to see the menu and the hours and the location, where can people find you?
So we have a website, goosetoothco.com. We're also on Facebook and Instagram under Goose Tooth Co. So you can find us there.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Amberlyn. Can't wait to eat all of your pizza and drink all of your beer.
Can't wait to make it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What?